Okay, hold on one second. I figure out why I've got so much CPU usage going on here. No, 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 don't do that. No. All right. Done with that. All right. I think everything else up there. Whatever. All right. So just I wanted to put that up there in case anybody. You have to have viewers first. Give a shit about if you missed an episode or whatever. You want to see something. You know, you'll see something in the past. If you want to time travel back in time. You got the YouTube archive. One nice thing about these less draws of bits is that I don't have to change my fucking shirt. Stay in my work clothes. I was not happy with this pose. I was sitting there last night, and more I looked at it. I'm not happy with this pose. Certain elements I don't like. In fact, let's just scrap it all together. Something you kind of hit me. I mean, it's not exact. It's certainly nowhere near exact to it. Well, this is not going over very well. It's not taking off. This is where it helps to have one of those pencil erasers. I wish I had one still. I have them, it's just I don't have actual erasers for them. Like I have the frames, but oh well. But it occurred to me that this has like almost like a. This could have a very, you know, Michelangelo's Creation of Man, kind of the Sistine Chapel feel to it. So I kind of want to play that up. And I was like, alright, you know what? I'm not happy with that pose. And it's certainly. Technically, the rules should be reversed. I should have Phantom Cop here, like, put his hand out more. And what'll be interesting, by the way, is to see if I get my friend Bungo here on Twitch tonight. I sent out a text message saying his bitch ass wants to be coming to Twitch tonight. So we're gonna send the arm out a little bit. And actually, by kind of screwing around with this in space a little, how it's gonna be laid out. And truth be told, if I were doing this again for print. This was actually going to be a 4-print thing here. I probably, because this is erasing so badly, would take it and put it on another board and lightbox Phantom here so he looks close as close as can get. At least get the heavy shadows in the same. But then again, it probably would have already had the layouts done. And I would have picked up on that a lot sooner than I did. So. That was everybody else's day. I just want to apologize for this one more time because I missed it, and hopefully I didn't delete the email. Again, Solar Gamma Death Ray, thank you for the follow yesterday. I missed it because I think it came in at the exact same time that Mike started hosting, so I saw his notification and I didn't see yours, and I apologize. If you come to see this, or if you see this in the archives or whatever. Well, it still stays on Twitch, or if you go to check out the YouTube one, I put it on there too. What the shit was that? So now that the mic's closer here, you had to have heard that one, right? Sometimes it's like, I don't know that's my youngest. I don't know what she's doing, but that's her. I'm not sure I want to know what she's doing. You know, ostrich in the head. Yeah, ostrich in the sand situation. You know, like my head's in the sand and I don't know what's happening. It's fine. I don't hear any screaming, so that's a good sign. Anyways, guys, Bear's work day was mine sucked. Mine's not planning on getting any better anytime soon. Got worse today. See, and the reason it got worse is because it was supposed to get better. First, they told us they were going to fix the air conditioning, or lack thereof, heat, I should say, specifically. The HVAC system. That didn't get fixed. We were told to come back in anyway. So I froze my ass off. One of my teammates that was out yesterday and came in today. But she basically told us she's not really going to be taking cases. She's not going to be helping. Because she's going to be off next week. So, yeah. Like, oh, great. So, but she kept sending us fucking updates about how many cases she had. Like, oh, I've taken so many today. I've got this many cases. It's like, cool. Took about 8. I took 17, not counting 2 I took from my teammate who went to the hospital. So, shut up. I almost sent back a message. I really did almost lose my tap room. Just like, I can't even begin to explain the number of fucks I don't give. So, anyway. Definitely think the angle was wrong for the arm now, because it was like, it was so straight across. It's like, didn't really. it's funny. I've read a couple of comic book artists that like to use the like 2H pencils. They state because they think it's easier to erase. And I'm like, damn man, I always have a harder time erasing H pencils. Maybe I push too hard on them. I don't know. Just to get some base out of it, you know, just so I can see the line a little clearer. I always feel like, I mean, this is a 2H here. It's a pretty, you know, super hard lead. Nah, not at all. But, yeah. One thing that cracked me up today at work, cause it wasn't really doing work though. It was my son. He I started getting emails. Thank you. You know, funds have been added to your PlayStation wallet. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, okay. And I thought to myself, all right. Now my son had asked me to buy some like gift cards from Amazon or whatever, and he was giving me money, I guess, or whatever. But my wife took him out today to GameStop, and so he bought some PlayStation gift cards. And then the amounts started coming in though. So it was like, you know, $100 has been added to your PlayStation. I was like, whoa, wait a fucking minute here. Alright, and I didn't realize he'd gotten that much money from Christmas. From, you know, the grandparents or whatever, I guess total. He ended up adding like $160 in PlayStation gift cards to our account. And I was like, yeah, but I didn't know it was coming from gift cards at first. So I was like, hey, dear, Vincent, did Vincent get some gift cards? And she goes, yeah, we were at GameStop. I was like, okay, good. Because I was thinking to myself, I try not to keep any financial data on the PlayStation Network since they've been hacked a few times, you know? So, but I was like, God damn, what if I accidentally left a card on there? Like, you know? So, shit, man, he could be using it, you know, have found it, you know, realized it was on there and just been playing up, you know, funds to the wallet. Shit. I was like, fuck, did I leave something on there? I could have sworn I took it all off. I don't use it very often. You know, when I do have to put in my credit card, I try immediately delete off the record. Legs are too small, I think, or something. Out of place. But anyway, so I was like, yeah. So did you gave him some? And she goes, yeah. Okay, good. And then I was like, oh my god, is he gonna spend like $160 in Fortnite? Shit, like, is he really gonna buy like $160 worth of fucking V-Bucks or whatever and just piss all that away? He didn't spend all $160 on Fortnite shit. But he had a couple other game add-ons. I was like, dude. But it was about $115 in Fortnite shit. You got like the Founders Edition of the Save the World Edition. I have no fucking clue what it is. If there are any gamers out there that watch this or whatever, like, I would love to. I mean, I know what Fortnite is, obviously. I've watched them play it. And, like, what the. He was trying to explain to me what the deal is with the Founders Edition versus whatever else. And but honestly, trying to follow my son's stories sometimes when he wants to explain stuff about video games, it's a lot like what's the character, Luis from Ant-Man? You know, like all the wrong details come out, and you know. It is truth serum, you know. Okay, I was trying to look at the. So it's trying to figure out like the rib cage here versus like so the delts. Latissimus dorsis, right? Is that what they're called? Where's that name stuck? It's fun to say. Latissimus dorsis. He's definitely got like a Spider-Man pose going on here, right? Like, we can crank that up a little bit, you know. We can emphasize the lights, make it move in a way that's probably a little on the unnatural side, but it gives it a little more pop. That's the trick of comics, I think, is to remember a couple things. You aren't dealing with real actors, so you can make them do a few little weird things. You know. You can throw them off buildings and heights that will kill them and whatever. Still no bungo. God, I hope he didn't change his number, because otherwise I'd like basically threaten somebody. Fire scored, and then Tampa Bay scored too. Son of a bitch. Gritty, go get him. I saw one of my new favorite Gritty pictures today. They changes very often because there's just so many that come out. But it was the movie poster for City Slickers, but it was Gritty Slickers, and everybody's face was gritty. Sounds stupid, but damn, it was funny. I guess I've just seen the Gritty Woman too many times. So that is a good one too. That's a very good one. Trying to think what else I could talk about. I should just keep my mouth shut. Oh, you know what? No, it always attracts the people. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Hey Alexa, activate Japanese garden sounds. I do apologize, by the way, if this does irritate people rather than actually have them enjoy it. I am still working on stuff to, you know, like writing songs and stuff. A lot of times it's like, I feel very like, I'll get like one riff, and I'm like, okay, I can dig this, but I need to build on it, and I just can't seem to find what I want to build off of it. So I have this sinking suspicion, like, playing with stuff, I'm gonna be playing with stuff, and then like suddenly I'm just gonna have like 6 complete songs suddenly. Like it's just gonna all click at one time. It's gonna be, oh, that's what I should do with this one, and because I did that, I should do this with this one. My girl, don't lie to me. Tell me, did you sleep last night? I don't remember where Menace is. Hold on here. I gotta find some old Menace sketches. There's one in here. the fuck are you? Okay, so the hip is on the right, and the leg is on the left. That makes sense to me, don't worry. So the hip holsters over here. The leg holsters here. Muscle right here. Let's put a gun in his hand. We can see, like, when we were, me and Bunga were making Menace, we, like, out of the remnants of Phantom Cop here, we tried to make him someone that, like, you know, he still had a strong moral code in the sense that he wasn't going to just go blatantly around murdering people. You know, he still had some belief that, you know, there was chances for people to reform. You know, but he was also always kind of in a spot where he's got to start blasting cats. You know, like he's going to do it. And what I liked especially was once we started developing like the cast of characters around him, was his partner on the police force. We were going to have, you know, yes, he wouldn't know for 100% that it was Rick, but we were dropping like really early on in our scripts, like within the first 12 issues that we had plotted out, like there were moments where like his partner was like, yeah, he keeps implying one thing, but you can always sort of tell that there's something, like he's aware something else is going on, you know. And eventually he would figure it out. And we liked him, like I definitely liked the idea of him being like the full moral ground. You know, he was a character that his family had been like, you know, cops before. You know, he's kind of like the legacy cop, you know, or whatever. But he was definitely like the unshakable moral ground on this. So he knew what Menace's secret identity was. A guy named Randall McCree. So he knew Randall was doing shit he ought not to, and you know. But he's also then, once he does kind of put everything together, now he's in this spot where he's got to, for all the bad shit that Randall was doing as Menace, there's obviously some good shit that was being done too, is cleaning up the streets or getting rid of some of these, you know, these crooks that, you know, the regular police force just wasn't prepared to deal with.
I wanted to say I think a little explosion goes a long, long way.
I wish I could find the opening sequence that we were going to use, or at least the original one. I don't know where it is around here. It should be in here somewhere, but I don't know where it is. So it wasn't in that set. I tried to write a simplified version, like, or not, I should say right. Like, I just came up with like a real simple, like 3-page fight scene a little later on, but I don't think it ever worked as well. This is our first fight scene, or our first opening bit of the comic. There was some stuff that, from a storytelling aspect, chick stick it, just didn't work out. For a little bit of time, Eric and I were talking about redoing this, and trying to slender all that stuff down so it would, eliminate the stuff that flat out gave away who he was, so that when you see Randall the first time on the screen, it's like, oh, well, that's clearly it. Like, I wanted to make it a little more. We were still going to reveal it probably by the end of the first issue, but I don't know. I just wanted to keep it for a few pages, I guess. Socket stuff here.
Hello, me. Meet the real me. And my misfits way of life. A dark black past is my most valued possession. Hindsight is always 2020. Looking back, it's still a bit fuzzy. Speaking mutually sure destruction. Nice story. Tell it to Reader's Digest. Phosphorin. Anxiety's attacking me. My hair is getting. I'm in trouble for all the things I haven't got to yet. I'm chopping at the bit, and my palms are getting red. Sweating bullets. Me again. You can subdue, but never.
Actually, it wouldn't make sense if I have a gun in that pocket. Well, no, you know what? It's fine. We'll make this one the empty one, right?
I fall. Stay an inch or 200 distance. Mankind has got to know its limitations. Feeling claustrophobic like the walls are closing in.
Guess it's not a good reveal here to show how we did certain things though, because his legs being up and you don't see the two. But basically, he's wearing cargo pants, so he had pockets to hold, extra clips or, hooks for his grappling gun or or put the grappling gun in even, Whereas again, when I was 11, I didn't think of any of that shit. It was just like, oh yeah, there's underwear on the outside, right? That's all I need. I mean, I didn't even give him a utility belt, I didn't rip off Batman or anything like that. So I was like, just sort of, they just would come out of nowhere, whatever. Now, what ended up actually killing Menace actually killed my even like slightest desire to try to get into comics anymore. You can look up a character called Mayhem, created by Tyrese Gibson. Mayhem came out significantly later than when Bungo and I created Menace. But we're nobodies, you know? Like, we're two schlubs from Philly that, you know, we're trying to make something, but and there's no way I could say that Tyrese Gibson stole the character, like, because they are different to a degree, but there are certain elements that certainly look awful lot like each other, and it was like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Even like the first cover looked like one of the things I had drawn, and I was like, God damn it, man. My pain. Smile, its black tooth grin. If the war inside my head won't take a day off, I'll be dead. My icy fingers claw your back. Here I come again. Feeling caught, know that you and me are fostering. I'm not trapped in frames, right? It's not looking great though. My stream is not healthy tonight. I'm using a lot of CPU. Blood stains on my hands and I don't know where I've been. Once you've committed me, now you've acquitted me, claiming validity for your stupidity. I'm chomping at the bit. I'm sharpening the axe. Oh, here I come again. Whoa. Like I was saying earlier, I wish I could find the original fight scene though. Once we got past, like I said, all the muddy stuff that we were trying to streamline, because I gotta admit I was very happy with it. Like I was stoked that it came out of me. Like I was like, "Whoa, shit, man! I did that!" Like. And it was funny because I would get reviews, and some were by actual, you know, like comic artists and editors and stuff. And then some were just by, you know, other small press people I might talk to. And I remember I was getting one done by there's a guy who ran a comic book shop, I think. In Upper Darby, I think. I don't really remember now. Unfortunately, it's been a very long time. But he had a comic coming out. It's like some samurai thing or whatever. And he was looking at it. He goes, "Wow." He goes, "Do you study martial arts?" I was like, "No." I was like, "You don't know like karate or anything like that?" I was like, "No." He goes, "'Cause this looks like this looks like someone who knows karate, like drew this comic or something, like knows, you know, Krav Maga or something." I was like, "No, I just had to fight to get out of my house a lot when I was little." It's like I studied anatomy a lot and how the body moves, and I had to fight my brother a lot to get out of my house. Literally, my friends would come and knock on the door for me. My brother would answer the door, say, "Yeah, 1 second." And he'd close the door on them, you know, the actual inside door. And they'd yell at me, "Brian!" If I wasn't already in the room. And so, you know, "Nikki's here. He wants to know if you can go out." I was like, "Oh, yeah. I put my shoes on." And I get my shoes on and go, "Okay, well, you can go out if you can get past me." My brother's 5 years older than me. Well, he still is. Not like I caught up to him in age. But he, now he was small for his age. For a long time. And, so it was just funny. It was like, yeah. I learned to fight. All I had to do is touch the handle. It never made me have to like go all the way to the point of I have to open the door. I have to do all this other stuff first. It just made me have to touch the, I had to touch the handle. Baby, 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 oh, love me, I can't get enough. I want to spread the news, that if it feels as good, get news, or you just keep on using me until you use me up. Now I went back and forth a couple times with Menace's boots and legs. As in, like, I wasn't sure if I wanted the pants tucked in the boots or loose outside. We eventually went with loose outside because A, it covered up a lot. And I know that sounds bad, but again, I tried to think of it. My goal was that if we could ever get to the point of publishing this thing, and I could make a living off of it, even a bare minimum living. If my wife and I had to cut corners or whatever so I could make comics, we were going to do that. But I wanted to produce on time. So everything was about how quickly how can I learn to get fast? And if I can't get fast, on my own per se, where can I cut the corners? And you will find that there's actually a lot of artists that like in comics are definitely work with that sort of in their head. It's like it's one thing to be really good, but the guy that can put the issue out on time is more valuable to the company than the guy who's like super detailed and super awesome, but can only produce one book a year or whatever, at least to a certain degree. I mean, sure, if you become someone like Alex Ross or whatever, or Jim Lee, and they give you more leeway there because the fans will give you more leeway. But comics is most certainly a medium almost exclusively based for how fucking fast can you produce that book. I mean, think of it in a lot of ways of like as like a social media type medium, really. I mean, I guess like I don't really know what else word to use. At least according to all the things I've read, though they haven't helped me at all. If you produce regularly, on Instagram or Twitch or whatever, your fans will come and they will stick around. If they know when to expect your stuff, they will start following you because they know you're consistent. Yeah. Put out consistently good material, good, interesting. Maybe that's where I fail. I don't do anything interesting. That's probably right. I tend to be a dull person. That's probably why. She said, and calm the fuck down, relax. Would you just hear this beautiful song that's hiding underneath the sound? Boy. Come on, these are supposed to be my good nights. The but anyway, so you can think of comics a lot like that. You know, if you can put out your book every month, you're gonna hold on to readers. You're gonna attract more readers. You're gonna hold on to readers, as long as it's of decent quality. Oh. And I'm not gonna throw anybody off. Like, see, I'm throwing people off by not doing like, painting. I just didn't feel like. I'll be honest. I just didn't feel like starting another painting that I'm not gonna finish before the end of the year. I know it's weird, but I knew like there wasn't enough time to finish a painting, even a small one, I think. And so, oh, God damn it. For someone like me, I get caught up in shit like that. So I'd start feeling pressure to finish this thing before the end of the year, and when it doesn't happen, that can affect me in not very cool ways. Something like that. One thing I think I always lacked in my comic style, though. I don't know if it's the right word is lacking, so much as it's something I should have figured out how to do in an easier fashion. So that way it would have saved me time, which is spotting my blacks. Without having to draw all the detail in there first. Like, I always feel like I always have to, like, know exactly, you know. And maybe it's something I would have picked up over time. I would just be like, oh, well, this is always how his face is going to look at, you know, light at this angle or something. What in the shit is happening there? Beginning to think, like, Jersey... Somebody else, I forget who now. Banned circus elephants. They use live elephants in the circus anymore. I think Ringling Brothers decided to leave my house. That sounds like upstairs. That seems to be the most logical choice. Still no bungo. I was gonna say there's a message from I tell me, bitch, I ain't listening to you. No message from Bungo. And until he gets on here, I'll leave lots of fun stories of Bunkos. Now Eric and I had met. Well, we met through Bill, our buddy Bill. I have to get back on here some point. I have him come in and start playing guitar in the background. Just hang out. Gives me something to talk to. Nobody else is here. Bill worked with Eric at Sprint before I started working there. But that's where I actually like became friends with Eric. It's like, where I would say like we were like weird friends as opposed to acquaintances. It's kind of strange in a way that it was one of those things where we probably should have met earlier at some point. But I didn't learn that until Eric's mom passed away. Eric's mom, well, this family had been part of, I guess, the Lutheran church not far from my house. And this has always been near my house, like it's always been close. And I guess it never occurred to me that one of my best friends growing up, his name was Ryan, his family went to the same church all that time. I had no idea. And both Ryan's mom and Eric's mom were pretty active in the church community. So they probably, well, I know that they knew each other. At least I knew that the two moms knew each other. I don't know if Eric knew Ryan or not. So it's like in younger years, there might have been a chance that, you know, by pure happenstance, I might have met him. But, like, never happened. So it's kind of funny. But like I said, we worked together at Sprint for a while. And now the store we worked in was on the 10th. It was like the 10th slowest store in the country. It was an area called Wynwood. And at the time, I don't know if it's gotten any better, to be honest with you, but at the time, Sprint had like 0 towers in the area. Like 0. And we were fighting to get towers in that area. Like, but the townships or whatever were all like, no tower for you. And so, basically, my store was left with the almost impossible task to sell cell phones to people that couldn't use them. At least certainly couldn't use them at their house. And this is right at the point when people were really starting to make that transition from, this is my mobile phone that I use on occasion, to, I'm going to get rid of my home phone. You know, that's when like all that was really starting to make that transition. It was right before like smartphones already became a thing. Which that was a funny transition too, by the way. I'll get to that later. But and this is also a time when Sprint really was not good. Like they had cool phones. They always had coolly designed phones, but damn, did they suck. And phone's crapping up on me. Anyhow, so we dealt with a lot of technical issues a lot. And when we would have to deal with a customer, if there was something very aggressive that was spotted, we'll say, there would be notes that would pop up in their account. Alright? Or if the customer had been, you know, given specific warnings of, you know. And I'm talking about literally like threatening people and all that. And that happened, actually. Where the customer was supposed to... He was having a lot of issues with his phone. He'd actually had like a second replacement. And that one had failed on him too. And, you know, he was now coming in for a third. And basically, in his account popped up the words, if this one doesn't fucking work, I'm going to shoot up the store. You know, if anybody gives me any trouble, I'm going to shoot up the store. Like, there's tons of stuff in there. And so... like customer service, like the actual phone service people, like called us and were like, yeah, this dude's coming in to get a replacement phone. It's been approved, you know, blah, 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 blah. You want to look at the warning in his account. I'm like, okay. Pull it up. I'm like, oh, fuck. That's not cool. And he was like, yeah, so, please be safe and do whatever, you know. He's been authorized to have a brand new phone or whatever. It was like, and so we're like, okay, you know. So we did what we could, you know, and what we basically had set up to do. So we didn't know exactly when it was coming in. We were told, you know, rough time period. And we basically had to make a plan of attack and how to tolerate a person who's literally threatened to shoot us. So what was done was Lunga was the customer service supervisor or lead or whatever. I forget the title. So he was going to actually take care of the customer, give him the phone and everything. He would have been the acting supervisor on duty too at the time. Anyway, I was still out in the area, like in the front sales area. I had my phone with 9-1, and all I had to do was push the one in the green, and I was good. You know, I was going to call. I think now they have it like, so you just hold 9 in, but whatever. It's a little bit before that. And, Ashley the tech, she was in a secure room, so if she needed to, she could just shut the door, and she's locked in and safe. It goes like big lead doors and shit. And then we had another sales rep that was actually in the manager's office with the door closed already, you know, and he had like 911 already dialed, ready to go when this dude walked in. So the dude walked in, and everything went without incident, thank God. But it's like you had like, you know, 3 or 4 people all set to call 911 should the need arise. That was scary shit. That was fun. It was a very scary night. It was like, holy shit, what the fuck? What was interesting though is that it actually led to what would have eventually been like a one-off story for Menace. Something that regularly happened was people would confuse the store for a liquor store. So we decided we were going to play that up, and we were a little bitter about all of us getting shit canned from the store for shit that wasn't our fault. So we, Bungo and I were going to make a fake cell phone carrier. It was going to be Spirit. And we were going to have at one point where Menace was going to be in with his father, who happened to be live on the main line too, so it would have been definitely like in that area, you know, kind of thing of the Philly suburbs. And lo and behold, someone's going to come in and start shooting up the store, and so now we would have had Menace, you know, out of costume, you know, forced to kind of be Menace without really being Menace, because he's certainly a cop and he's got to, you know, still follow certain rules, I guess. Astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes control. Listen closely. I've got to keep control. I remember
Doing a time warp, drinking those moments when the blackness begat me and a voice was calling.
Let's do the time warp again.
Just don't jump to the left. Then a step to the right. Your hands on your hips. Then bring your knees in tight.
Everything drives you insane. My neighbor shares the wall with us. Absolutely loves Halloween when I get drunk and start dancing the time warp in whatever costume I'm in. Especially when I'm in the ghillie suits. Especially funny. No, not at all. Another dimension. With voyeuristic intentions. Well secluded. I see all. Those are our minds. Slip. They're into the time slip. And nothing. Never be the same. Sensation.
Like him under sedation.
And look, I'm sure I've forgotten stuff from each of these characters' costumes at this point, but Menace went through a couple of revisions, so it's very possible that I'm drawing like the first revision of him, and there was meanwhile like 4 others that came after it. There were a couple times I was talking about like to bring us away from, as I said, Mayhem or whatever from Tyrese, to change his costume up to be more armor-like, at least to get him established, and then we could switch back to the simpler design. Yeah, there's a couple of different things that we were doing, trying to figure out a way to make the book and avoid the potential comparisons and or lawsuits that would come from it. Like I thought about just taking even the DC Universe game that they have for like the PlayStation Network. You know, like the online multiplayer game or whatever. The first thing I made when you have the character creation was I tried to make as close to Menace as I could. So it's like I got my PS3 for the first time. I got it all loaded up. That was the first thing I did. I was like, alright, I'm trying to make Menace. but there's certain limitations of, you know, whatever, you can only use the stuff that they load in there. So like his gloves were very different. They were like big, like armored, like very Jim Lee gloves. And boots were different. I think the boots were like tucked. They could do the kind of like cargo pants, but they were tucked into. And so I was looking at ways to try to again avoid comparisons to this character that came out after we had created Menace, many years after, but got published before we could publish Menace. And that was one of the techniques I was looking at. It's probably my most viable, because I figured I didn't have to necessarily, like, I guess the DC Universe Online stuff doesn't technically own your character creator characters, right? I mean, that would, maybe they do. I don't know. Think I read terms of agreements? Like, come on. If Apple came up to me, like the South Park episode, and said, like, oh, you click the terms of agreements to allow us to make you a human centipede, I'd be like, I guess. It sucks, but, you know. What are you going to do? Can I be the front? Can I choose to be the front? What they want, when they want it all the time. Give the people what they need, when they need it. Yours is mine. Baby, can you say that? Say that. Give the people what they want. Oh shit, I just realized something. Shit. It's Thirsty Thursday and I don't have a beer. That's how messed up work was for me today. I literally forgot to get a beer. Actually, I don't think do I have a beer? It might be out right now. I was trying to clean out my fridge before New Year's, because I'm going to have to buy another case, and I figured, well, might as well empty out what I have, so it's all fresh for my guests. I don't drink very much anymore, so I was like, well, let me get it out. Literally forgot it was Thursday. Would have been embarrassing as hell if I went to work on Saturday. shine like you have too much wine. Some more. The bella. Let's all play tippy tippy tie like a gay umbrella. I love when I used to wait tables and people would call it pasta fagioli. Yeah, that's what it's called. You got it there, buddy. No. What's the pasta fagioli? Oh, he's in Anybody tell me I was using the wrong pencil? I was like, why is this so light? Using 2H will do that to you. That's amore. You see vita bella, vita bella. What's play? Tippy 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 tippy. Lucky fella. When you dance on the street with the crowd at your feet, you're in love. When you walk in a dream. And I will be very honest, I'm not going to go through the hassle of trying to make these guns, you know. Again, if I was doing this for publishing or for print, not just fucking around, I would go through and I would make sure the guns are super detailed. That's it. When I was trying to break into comics, it was like I always like played this weird like that wrong song. No good. No good a song. Like I always know I should be working to get faster, push stuff out so it's, you know, quick. And then it was like, but then I always like was countering that with like, oh, I gotta be more detailed here. Like there were times I would just get like caught up in drawing like shoelaces. Like it's crazy some of the stuff that was just like, but I was building and building on top of things already, so it was like kind of like here's the thing. All right, and you know, it kind of shows that there's always a weird complication with comics sometimes. All right, or certainly with when you're trying to get in. It's weird, like the way portfolios work, and I guess it works that way for any real form of art. Like I had a number of times where, like one reviewer would tell me I'm you know doing too much shirking on details. You know, like I'm not putting enough detail in boots or you know shoes or whatever. And so you become paranoid about these things, you know, especially if it happens on more than one, you know, portfolio review. Like, well, fuck, they must both they're both agreeing. It must be right. And so you start like, okay, well now I need to make sure whenever I'm drawing something, you know, if the character's got shoes on, I better have fucking laces in it. You know, no matter what, nobody wears fucking loafers in my, you know, universe or whatever. But then they did like so I'd start doing like other sketches, and like I did this one Joker sketch, which I think eventually got auctioned. I think I donated it to a charity. There's a picture of Joker in Arkham, and he had Batman's shadow coming across the floor, and Joker's like got a sinister grin on him. And I drew, you know, very detailed shoes with very detailed laces on them, and like, you know, I was super stoked about it. And then, like, I sort of got, I start, yeah. And this was after actually I'd already shown the piece to some people. And they're like, why is, you know, you're, why you got no details there? Like, you know, you look like half-ass shoes. I was like, oh fuck, you know. So I did all these really detailed, you know, shoes and everything, and then they said there is no fucking person in the world that would allow Joker to have shoelaces, like other reviewers. I was like, motherfuckers, like you literally bashed me for not. Anyway, like it was just literally other reviewers were telling me like you need to put shoelaces on. Like you got to make sure you're drawing shoelaces. It's part of the storytelling. You don't walk around without shoelaces, right? Not very often, right? Oh. It is such a pity that like I could not, because I actually had, I think, just by about the time that I gave up on Menace as a, because again this book by Tyrese came out or whatever. I think I had pretty much the crew I think would have worked very well as far as making the book goes. I don't think I had officially sold Josh on the idea of being my anchor for it yet. I was working on him, and but he started doing his own stuff, and it was like I think at that point he was pulled away, and he just wasn't going to be able to really do it. And I couldn't find somebody else that I liked as much as I liked Josh inking my stuff from the League of Extraordinary Stupid Gentlemen. But my buddy Mike would do coloring for us pretty often, and he's just fucking amazing. If you want to see some of his stuff, like check out Thesis Paradox of Salnat. Yeah, again, he may or may not be hosting me. I don't know. He's got me as an auto host, but he's got other people, so anybody hosting them. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's hosting me right now. But anyway, Thesis Paradox. Besides just being a cool channel, but he does stuff every now and then in Photoshop and what have you, or Illustrator and stuff, and he's just fucking great at it. He'd bang out some of these coloring jobs, and it was like, fuck, man, like, oh shit, this looked so good, you know. And between him and my friend Dawn, and myself with what Photoshop skills I had, I think we could have picked up the slack. If he couldn't help out on one thing, it's like, okay, we can cover it, you know. Dawn also did a lot of like stuff for the original design of twosocietystudios.com, which I still have up and running, though I now have pointed it entirely to my painting for the most part. I mean, there's still some of the original pages from the Preston and Steve book up for sale, but for the most part I'm trying to sell artwork through there. Didn't think of the word that rhymes. There's still some archive stuff up there from Menace. Can also see it. Old promo shots and stuff. There's League of Extraordinary Stupid Gentlemen stuff up there. There's a very short-lived webcomic. Literally, I got my parents' basement flooded, I believe, and it basically canceled the third issue from coming out because it was like third comic from coming out, because it was like I got caught up with having to clean up after the flood, and it was like what I should have done on that one is made sure like I had, you know, 8 weeks or whatever of shit ready before I started publishing it, just to prepare for shit like that. I should have been more aware that that's probably going to happen, because that's how things work in my life. But I was trying to capitalize on some Preston and Steve love that I've gotten from the comics. I was hoping that people would pick up on that stuff quickly. It just never came to be. Bad song. Stop. So there's a slight little bit of proportion issues going on here, but I think it's only slight in the fact that because I now moved his hand out rather than being like that, his hand puts him a distance away. Just a little bit, even. You know? His hand's moved him out here now. So he can be slightly smaller than Phantom Cop. And if I add just like, you know, I said I'm going to have him falling, I could put like some perspective lines in this way now so that the whatever building, now it's falling at an angle. It's no longer, you know, now we're no longer looking at them completely sideways. Now we're looking at them like a little, you know. Like we're basically looking at them like you're looking at it in the camera here. Because it's already cockamanied a little bit from the skew here. Which I think works. Like my paintings, I really don't know what I'm doing until it's over. That's probably that's probably another reason I'm not never made it as a professional artist. One of the worst things for me is having to come up with like I hate trying to do artist statements and stuff. And I really need to try to finish one too, because I'm gonna apply for a grant, but the application deadline is the 31st, so I gotta like haul ass on it if I'm gonna do it. And I'd have to have it done before I can't apply after I'm 40, after I'm 41. I can apply up to I'm 40 for my first application. If I get it, then after I turn 41, I could apply again. But you don't want to get your head on the ground. That's me. That's me. Yeah. Oops. Nothing. Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Way out in the water, swimming.
change. Change. All I wanna do is to thank you, even though I don't know who you are. You let me change lanes while I was driving in my car. All I wanna do is to thank you, even though I don't know who you are. You let me change lanes while I was driving in my car. Whoever you are, I wanna thank you, whoever you are. I wanna thank you, whoever you are. I wanna thank you, whoever you are. All I wanna do is to exist, so don't want get off. Just you off. I go round all day, hungry after fury hates. All I have to say is all I wanna do is to thank you, even though I don't know who you are. You let me change lanes while I was driving in my car. All I wanna do is to thank you, even though I don't know who you are. You let me change lanes while I was driving in my car. Whoever you are, I wanna thank you, whoever you are. I wanna thank you, whoever you are. I wanna thank you, whoever you are. About a half hour or so till the kids are in bed.
Still no bango.
Tuesday, radio segment New York. Cause we're broadcasting live and we wanna hear all of ya. All of us get it out and a whole lot more of all y'all. Let us hear you, let us hear you. Echo and holla. It's to thank you. Don't know who you are. You will let me change lanes. I was driving in my car.
One of the big improvements I think we did with Menace, it just looked cool. It was really badass. Especially again, like I liked what Mike would do with it. When we would color it. We gave him like night vision eyes, you know, so like the eyes were green rather than like the typical superhero white. They were going to start that way. They were going to be the white ones, and then like in like this, second issue, he was going to get the enhancements added in. So it's going to be like real quick turnaround. Yeah, to pull him out from being like everybody else. And it looked so badass because Mike would then put in like there was the standard green and it'd glow a little bit, but then he had like a lighter green, so it was like where the pupils were. It worked really well. I always dug that.
Who's lost in the wind? I know I could always begin.
again, depending on how detailed I get in the background, because there's I mean, I was thinking about it. I realized I was like, oh, I can do another early day thing on Monday for New Year's Eve, but then I realized I have to go in the office, so I can't. So there will be no stream on Monday. Plus, how am I going to compete with Ninja on Twitch New Year's Eve? Like 4 p.m. to 4 a.m? Come on. No, thank you. Anyway, I'm just talking to myself. But, just in case somebody watches on YouTube, we're not going to get a view. Please, put on some speed, follow my lead. Someone to watch over me. Let's have a call. He does have like another strap. Mother told me, yeah, she told me I need girls like you. She also told me stay away, you'll never know what you'll catch. Yeah, admittedly that doesn't end up increasing his bulge, I guess, but I did try to start, like I said, we tried to start getting sort of realistic about what was required to make him absolutely functional. In other words, we were definitely taking a logistical, like, Dark Knight approach to it, if you will. Like, all right, how can someone like this work and operate, especially even in a city like Philadelphia? Because Philadelphia's a little tricky if you really think about it. See, the nice thing about New York, if you're using that as your basis for your comic book, or a made-up city like Gotham or Metropolis, whatever, they're massive cities with tons of skyscrapers, and they're huge, and Batman can swoop, and Spider-Man can swoop, and they can do these big dives and these big uplifts, and and they can fly around and go crazy with it. Philly doesn't work like that. Like, even where they have big buildings, the streets tend to be really wide, especially if you're talking like Broad Street or something like that. And the other thing regarding those areas is those areas tend to be relatively low crime areas. Like, don't get me wrong, don't be an asshole walking through the city and, not pay attention to where you're going or what you're doing. Because Philly is a weird city in the fact that, like, you can be here and it's a beautiful, part of the city. Go like this and go like that, and now you're in a shithole. So it's a unique city that way. I always felt like when I was in Chicago or and in New York, I always feel like when you're in the good part, you're in the good part. When you're in the bad part, you're in the bad part. I guess Philly's a lot more tricky in that sense. But as I said, even when you have the big skyscrapers area, and even if you want to try to make that you're just going to say it has a lot of crime, you really don't have the too much distance between things to make them work properly. To get from the top of this building over to the top of that one, you have to swing so low your feet will scrape along the ground, like, kind of thing. Like, if you really tried to figure out the mathematics behind it in a lot of areas. And once you're literally, like, right off of Broad Street, You know, if you're talking like, say, you know, like towards Jewelers Row. Jewelers Row is still kind of basically townhouses. Like they're really not very big buildings. So if you needed to go rooftop to rooftop to rooftop, and you got to get across a wide like street like Chestnut Street or something like that, like you're fucked. If you tried to do the Batman method of, you know, unless you use something like in the first Batman movie with Michael Keaton, he had the thing where it had like shot out two sides and he zip lined it suddenly. That would work. So we used stuff like that, but we had it so rather than him always carrying one of those on and rolls a string and whatever, that they kind of plotted good paths to, you know, if something happens over here, something happens over there, you know. So we were going to have them, so they had it basically like tucked away and like you know, hidden in false bricks or something at the top of the building or whatever. A bunch of areas where they could move around very quickly using those types of zipline attachments. We had things where they would use a relatively large, like, you know, something similar in size to like a Predator drone, as like a pseudo getaway, you know, and Menace's car was based on an Acura NSX, I think, if I remember correctly, and it was going to be like loaded with shit like. Again, most of his stuff was with the intention of to be dual function. In other words, it would be to stop whatever criminal he's chasing and excuse me, possibly to deter or prevent the police from being able to catch him, since he knew that, you know, his mission would be not just his mission but his job and everything else that he, which is considered part of his mission, would all be at stake if he were to get caught. So he like he had like a little like nitro boosted kind of like little remote control thing that, again, his partner, who was the sister of his fiance who died, his late fiance, he would control it from outside, you know, from a remote location. So if he's like, dude, I got to deploy the thing, okay, boom, and he'd fire the thing off, and he'd go and disable, like, it'd have like a little electric, like a little EMP thing on it, or something. You know, I mean, again, does this technology exist? Fuck no. I just don't think it is. It certainly didn't back then. But, you know, it was like, it gives us pseudo technology that we can work with. That sounds practical. We were looking at, there was some stuff being generated. I don't know. I guess maybe it's in practice now. I don't know. But there was like, we were reading up on science journals about like crime scene detection. So like they had like literally like a scanner you slap in the middle of a room and it lasers all around the room and, you know, lays out the room for you. So this way you have like the perfect sketch of the room where the bullet holes are or whatever. Blah blah blah. So we were like, okay, well, we got to make like a, you know, miniature version of that or something that he can use. So he gets to a crime scene or, you know, whatever, before or like, you know, before the cops get there or whatever, or if he's part of the crime scene, or, you know, he can quick get a scan of it and then again use that some cases to obstruct evidence that, you know, would be then able to put him, you know, his character or his alter ego at the location, you know, be it blood droplets or something like that. He like, oh shit, I got, you know, blood here. He had little ammonia capsules. Like we planned that he would have him carry little ammonia capsules. I don't know if it's 100% true. I believe it is, that it would like it degrades, so they couldn't do real DNA sampling. At least, again, the technology of the time that we're building this was all around 2002. It was all pretty much what we were aware of. We were primarily thinking of like the Boondock Saints when they get all shot up and they're like, shit, get rid of the blood, and they start spraying Windex like all over, you know. William Dafoe gets there and he's like, they sprayed Windex, it's all worthless, ah, fuck! Look, the second movie's a muddled piece of shit, I won't lie, but the first one's still fucking great. If you've never seen Boondock Saints, it's fucking awesome. If you're a fan of Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead, you'll like Boondock Saints. Because he's in it. The season's upon us, it's that time of year. With the eating now, there's plenty of cheer. There's roots on the trees and there's wreaths to behold. There's mischief and mayhem and stars to be sung. To kiss beneath the earth's mistletoe. These others are fine. You think yours is crazy? Well, you should see mine. It's kind of obscuring the whole, like, cargo pants pocket there. Sisters are whack jobs, I wish I had none. Their husbands are losers and so are their sons. Fuse and horrible rush. Me, this gift, a box full of shit. Like these snowballs, I'd like to take him out back and deck more than the halls. And depressed, seasons upon us, it's that time of year. Brandy and there's plenty of cheer. It's midst in the tree and there's wreaths to be hung. Mischief and mayhem and songs to be sung. They call this Christmas where I'm from. And broad from another brig broad. Come home more often if she only quit bitching. A rebel dog. He couldn't care less. Fired my teddy bear and left me the mess. The season's upon us, it's that time of year. Brandy and eggnog, there's plenty of cheer. It's on the wreaths to be hung. There's mischief and mayhem and songs to be sung. They call this Christmas where I'm from. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. She only comes once a year. Since your Happy New Year. They all this Christmas where I'm from. They call this Christmas where I'm from. Well, like I said, it is Thirsty Thursday. Maybe I'll run in and see what I have to drink when I go in to give the kids kisses. I'll have that anybody's here. Nobody's drinking with me. No, I won't offer my throat to the wolf with the sheep. With the red rose. Go the fuck out. And I wonder, day to day, I don't like you anyway. I don't need your shit today. You're pathetic in your own way. I bleed for you. Better fucking go away. Oh, that's fucking cool. I'm doing the best I ever did. Fantasize you on my lights all the time. Oh, I don't care if you go blind. You get what you get until you're through with mine. I feel for you. Better fucking go away. Better go away. I will get back to my Twitch streamer drawings at some point too during my lunch breaks. It's just I have not had many lunch breaks in the past few weeks. I've had to work through them. So, and when I haven't had to work through them, I just want to veg. Like, it's probably not the greatest of techniques. I really should be working, and it probably helped me out a lot in some senses. But damn, man, if it weren't for the coffee I drank for my It's a Major Reward cup here, I wouldn't have had the energy to do this even tonight. I was so fucking worn out from today. I'm doing the best I ever did. Go away. I'm doing the best that I can. Go away. I'm doing the best I ever did. Now go away. I'm doing the best I ever did. I'm doing the best that I can. I'm doing the best I ever did. Now go away. Doing the best I ever did. To get twisted. This rap shit is mine, motherfucker. Fuck it. Fuck what you heard. It's what you hearing. It's what you hearing. Listen. It's what you hearing. Listen. It's what you hearing. Listen. X gonna give it to you. Fuck waiting for you to get it on your own. X gonna deliver it to you. Knock, knock, open up the door. It's real. With the non-stop pop, pop, a stainless steel. Roll hard, getting busy with it. But I got such a good heart, I make motherfucker wonder if he did it. Damn right, and I'll do it again. I am nice, so I got to win. Break bread with the enemy. Man, how many times to break? Stick who's 70. I want nothing but your life saved. Bitch, let's call life dead, motherfucker. I want to be the one ending up on his knees. Bitch, please. Pop, go, let it go. X gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you. X gonna give it to you.
You gonna give it to you. First we're gonna rock, then we're gonna roll, then we let it pop, go, let it go. X gonna give it to you. You gonna give it to you. X gonna give it to you. Ain't nothing to me. But every time I turn around, cats got their hands out wanting something from me. I ain't got it, so you can't get it. Let's leave it at that, cause I ain't get it. Full thing. Kaboom, bullpen. Me against you, you against you. Whatever that. So you want me to do? I'm a wolf in sheep's clothing. And now, black and the streets pumping. I'm doing this for 19 years. Fight these tears. Really what? So all the kids, these cats done forgot what work is. They don't know who they see. They don't know who they see. Rock, then we're gonna roll, then we let it pop, then we let it go. Rock, then we're gonna roll, then we let it pop, go, let it go. X gonna give it to you. When I know they got a line in the bite of the glove and they get back. Been much for too long. Don't give up, be too strong. Why, man? And it ain't even about the do. It's about getting done for what we stand for, yo. Rock, then we gonna roll, then we let it pop, go, let it go. X gonna give it to you. You're gonna give it to you. X gonna give it to you. You're gonna give it to you.
Played this one too much.
Don't need a helmet, got a hard head. Don't need a raincoat, I'm already wet. Don't need a bandage, there's too much blood out the house used to run right on.
Probably should round that out a little bit. This knee should be coming a little bit forward here. The knee should really be kind of back.
Don't need a hand, there's always something attached. Oh, don't get behind, I can't fall back. I must retrace this rusted rain. They don't want no change, we already have.
That scared the shit out of me. Something I had stuck on the wall there just fell off. It was like, I was so like here. Sorry, that just scared the shit out of me. Whew. Oh, man. An awkward moment when you get hyper focused and fucking something rips you out of it. So it's just little moments where it's like you start, like if you're working on, and like I said, this doesn't just hold sort of to comics or anything like that. I think it's a little, especially when you're doing something like this, like just a pin up, no real backstory to it or anything like that. I guess, like you start to, you know, your design and everything starts changing midway through it. Like you start going, well, you know, the thing I move the arm this way, just, you know, move the foot, and that changes that. And okay, that brings that a little more. You know, this way. So I can't say for 100% that that's, like I said, when I would draw comics, when I was trying to break in, I was always very methodical about it. I really did, like, you know, especially when it came to actually background elements or placement of the figures. I was, Jesus, man, I used to sit there and just flip my pages back and forth to make sure I wasn't like skipping out on something that, like, you know. I really wish I could find that fight scene because it. How would it be? I'm trying to think. It's got to be in one of this. This is a nicer one. Nah, that's the Preston and Steve one. It's up there. This is the first comic, the first Preston Steve comic. It's pin-up pages. Nah, old fight scene. Damn it. It's gotta be in the one where this is, I know, super annoying. I apologize. Just, I think it was in this one. I probably looked at it earlier. This had a lot of old, badly drawn ones. I don't think it was in here. I guess I still use blue pencil. Blue line. What the fuck is it? Again, just to make sure. This is some old covers, but I really cannot figure out where that one would be at. Yeah, it's all shit. Yeah, this is, oh, and this is like the first draft of it, I think. Yeah, that's the first draft. That's no good. That would be the most logical one. That's not it. Alright, I don't know. I really don't know. Oh, wait. Hold on. I might have one more. Oh, that probably would cause something else. Nope, this one is completely empty. And so many of these damn portfolios, man. Oh my god, I had tons of them. Alright. That's not it. Okay. I don't know. I'm out of ideas. I really wanted to show it because it's got like a really great like method of how I was working the camera and how I would transition from like page to page to make sure it was still like making sense so that you knew, you know, even though one of the critiques was like, all your characters on here are just generic everything. It's like, well, literally we're just starting the book off. We kind of don't want you to know anything quite yet, and it is just random thugs for him to beat up for the first, you know, 4 pages or whatever it was. But I tried to give, like, they were all, like, skinhead, you know, thugs or whatever, but I gave them all specific tattoos, so you would always follow them via that. You know, one had, like, a mustache or whatever. Now everything's collapsing around me. Is this in this one, by the way? I'm just going to check one more time. I've not looked at it again in this one, but I could have sworn this was all Preston Steve shit. Yeah, that's all Preston Steve stuff. There's nothing from Menace in here at all. Yeah, okay, so it's not that one. Anyway. The point of it is I was like much looser in how I would handle the figures on the page than I was about like other shit on the page. You know, like things had to have their, you know. I did my damnedest. Like if you saw a street light in one panel, you know, you saw it likely again in the same. Oh God, it's going. Hold on. I caught on the back of this somewhere. Okay, there we go. Oh, there goes again. Sorry. This is a risky setup. Oh my God. Like my crotch cam? Anyway. Holy shit. Come on. Oh, look, the viewer went up, right? I got the crotch cam. Alright, hold on. I'll do it again. No. Drop coins for a private chat. Anyway, professionalism. Look for it elsewhere. It is the one though, like aspect I think I still carry over from comics. Is like when I really haven't tried, and I'm not planning on trying anytime soon to break in or even self-publish ever again anytime soon. But I still like, even in my paintings, I try to keep like that idea of storytelling to a degree. Like I really want you to be sort of able to sense, you know, whatever was going on with me at the moment. Even if I'm working off of a photo of something that I was at one point, like I try to keep that. It's why I work from photos that I've taken, more so than I ever. If, you know, I'd prefer to be doing it plein air and getting the raw emotion, but if I've taken the photo, at least I can kind of put myself back there. You know, if I was in there, I'm very good at remembering moments. Can't remember details very often. I'll forget people's names left and right. I forget song titles and lyrics all the time and shit like that. It's just the way that, especially now. But I can remember sensations. So I try to like hold on to those when I see, like, if I'm taking photos for reference, I know I'm going to use this for a painting. I try to latch onto that little moment and hold on to it, so when I do get to the painting, I can just feed off of that again. And I try to keep that. Am I always 100% successful? I don't know about that, but yeah. But it's amazing when a little bit of storytelling, like I said, one of my first streams on here with the Bridge and True and Farm Trail painting I did. There's an amazing little element that you just throw a figure in sometimes to a place, or sometimes the absence of the figure in such a place can be very, very powerful storytelling. It can take you to whatever, you know. Like I'd said on the bridge painting, like if I put a person on that bridge just looking out suddenly, you know, if I just went back, I could do it now. You just pull the thing out and just quick dab a few dashes on there and make it look like there's a person sitting on the edge of the bridge or whatever, looking out. you wouldn't know what they're looking at, and now you're curious, you know, like now you'd be like, what the hell is that person looking? They're not looking, they wouldn't be looking at me, they'd be looking out somewhere distance, you know? And you go, what are they looking at? There's a little bit of storytelling. I believe the wonderfully colorful example I gave was like, you know, what's he looking at? Are the two hippos out there fucking? Like, what's going on? She gonna walk. Ooh, she walking over. Who could be like this? She got a friend. Ooh, she got a friend. While she's standing in her way, it's her big fat friend. Oh God, there's always one to spoil my fucking fun. Baby, 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 if there's boots you wanna knock, leave your troubling friend at home because she's gonna block the clock. It's your big fat friend. So big fat friend. Ah, we meet again. You won't leave her alone. Roll your eyes, make sarcastic comments while you're sucking on a chicken bone. That's okay, you think you won the battle, but I tend to disagree. See, I know you and your Achilles heel, and you standing next to me, my non-discriminating friend. So what that you're a non-discriminating friend? I know that he's no looker and he's had a couple rounds, but with every shot of Jaeger, hey, you lose a couple pounds. Baby, 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 leave into an end. Just you and me and my pal, and your big fat friend. To give my kids some good night kisses, because I'm sure they're getting in bed right now. I'm sure my son's actually sitting there with his water bottle or his iPad ready to give them to me for me to go refill it all, even though it's perfectly capable. But I digress. So I will be right back. I'm going to put on my be right back. Get that. Hold tight.